So give me a few minutes. I'm still adjusting everything. Thank you for jumping in with us today. Everything's still good. I gotta restart the stream. Is that one live too? Okay. Give me a few minutes. I'm still trying to figure this out. Apologies, everybody. All right, we are good, up and running. I'm just gonna adjust the vertical stream. Pardon the noise from upstairs. Sorry, the camera angles got a little weird. All right, there we go. Looks like we are set up. Apologies for the delay. I'm trying to stream both vertical and horizontal, and I'm still learning everything now. Upstairs in the other classroom is a little loud, so they're moving some chairs. But anyway, we are going to be trimming a bunch of bowls. And so I got my Griffin grip set up. I got my bowl ready. I'm going to get the arms to secure it down. And we're going to go ahead and get trimming. So I like trimming with the Griffin grip. Because I could trim a lot of pieces really, really quickly. guys have any questions throughout this process, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions. So the Griffin grip is one of my favorite trimming tools, so I can center it really easily, and I don't need to do anything else. Okay, there we go. Nice and centered. Let's get my trimming tools and everything else needed. All right, so I got my trimming tools. The first thing I like doing is creating a little groove here, a little indent, so that I can apply downwards pressure with my finger here. And from here, I'm going to trim off my extra skirt. And this clay is a little on the softer side, so I have to make sure not to apply too much pressure. Hello, Kylie. And my angle for the live feed looks a little weird, so I'm going to go and lift the camera up a little bit. So apologies again, I'm going to create some more adjustments. There we go, that was a little better. And let's go ahead and continue where I left off. Okay, so I got my indent. Now I need to trim the outside edge. So let's get rid of all this extra overhanging clay. Hello, Nikon. So I'm gonna get rid of this vertical edge first. Right now I'm just gauging the clay and figuring out how wide I want the foot to be. So I'm trimming off all this extra clay so I get the appropriate foot size. And then I'm gonna go ahead, clay bit a little bit. So let's go to my other one. It feels like there's a hard piece of clay in here. So we have recycled clay here. We have recycled clay here, and sometimes we encounter hard bits in it, and I'm not feeling it, so it must have popped off. So we'll just continue trimming. Feels like my bowl shifted too, so I'm going to re-tighten that. And because my clay is soft, I can't really secure it too much. Alright, a tar. I don't have a place to fire. Is there a place I could ship anything or make? I could get one for $1,000 less. There are kilns you can buy that are less than $1,000, depending where you live, but the space in it will be very small and depends on where you live. In the US, there are kilns you can plug into a normal outlet. You just got to, I believe Paragon or Scott has one you can plug into a normal outlet, but they do draw a lot more power, so they're not as efficient. Sorry guys, I need to make some adjustments to a few things. Sorry, I forgot to include that setting. So if you Alright, let's go ahead and continue trimming. And now I got my foot more or less the size that I want it to be. So let's go ahead and get this a little narrower. All right, and then I gotta adjust the bottom here. So I'm gonna feather this out and round it to make it match the overall shape of the outside. So proportionally, I like that shape here. I like the roundness here. I'm gonna get my throw lines back in. Spin the wheel, and I'm gonna add a little texture right here to kind of mimic the throne texture I had to make it match. And now I'm going to start trimming the inside. So I'm left-handed, so I trim majority with my left hand when possible. And now I'm getting all this extra clay out. Let's adjust the height. And whenever I trim, I have it slightly sloped here. So this is the highest point, and then it slopes down over here to hopefully match the height of the foot on the outside. So I'm going to take off a little more and then tap to see how thick or thin it is. Looks like I can take off a little more. And then now to even it out. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Clean up the inside. We'll add the undercut in the bottom. And I like using this guy for the undercut. And I'm going to create a little groove here. And so this is going to help me to hold the piece when I trim. Not when I trim, when I glaze it. And it also gives it a little flare, so it's not just a straight vertical wall. And that's something I like to add to the piece. All right, let's clean it up with some water. All right, and if you are watching, don't be afraid to say hello, drop a comment, ask a question. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys. All right, so now I'm doing something called burnishing. So I'm smoothing all my trimming area. I added a little bit of water, and then I'm using my fingers to apply downwards pressure. And this is going to allow me to smooth and get everything nice and ready to glaze. All right, a little area there. I can't reach, so I'm going to need to use a brush for that. So I'll be right back with a brush to clean that up. All right, got my brush. Let's clean up that little edge. And there we go. Pretty much done with the first bowl. Okay, and I'm going to try to adjust the camera here on the live. Oops, sorry guys. Okay. Tried to make it so it's not a wide view, but I guess I have to play around with that some more. All right, there's the first bowl, and you can see the final product. Looks pretty good. Now let's get the rest of these 7 done. So I have 8 bowls to trim total that I made during the last YouTube live. I got 1 done, and now I'm ready to do the rest. One thing I forgot to do is take the measurement with the caliper. All right, so this is a caliper. This is what I took the width of from the last bowl I just finished, so that all my bowls now can match. So I'm going to spin the wheel, center this, and make a slight indent, and that will be the size of my next foot. And we can go ahead and trim everything down. Indent for my finger, and every piece should be a little faster than the last. So now I'm not really guessing, I'm just trying to make it hit that line that I made. Now I'm going to turn it vertical, so I start from that edge, and I slowly turn the tool so it goes vertical. And apply downwards pressure to create the feathering out. And the height of my foot, I normally get it to the height of this tool. So that is my gauge. Stand it up next to the wall, and then I got my height, and then time to feather. And now for the inside. Getting that slope in. Hello to the people who are joining the vertical live stream. If you want to drop in and leave a comment or ask a question, by all means, go for it. Today we are trimming 8 bowls. So you're getting the edges all set. Just gotta lower this a little more. Tap for thickness. More vibration you feel, the thinner the clay is. The more hollow it sounds, the thinner the clay is. So I didn't vibrate or make too much noise, so I'm good. All right, that side looks pretty good. Time for the undercut. So I trim this little groove here, and this is going to help me when I glaze the pieces. All right, last few steps. Because I trimmed the texture away, I've got to go ahead and get it back. So spin the wheel, use the tool, and mimic the throne texture I added. I'm gonna thin out this foot a little bit. And with the calipers that I checked earlier, the width of my foot is more or less the width. It's a little wider, so I'm just going to round the edge a little bit. There we go. And lastly, smooth. a little bit of water to smooth it out. And so this last step is to remove any trim marks that I don't like or I don't want to see. You can use a rib instead of your finger, but you don't want to apply too much pressure. And wherever your finger can't fit, like this area where I put the undercut, you can use a brush. All right, there we go. 6 more to go. Feels pretty stable. Let's do this. So always the same steps. Secure. Create the little indent for my finger to apply downwards pressure. And then trim the overhang clay. There we go. Got it to the edge that I need it to be. And now it's going to turn the tool vertical to reveal the foot. And then trim down this edge that was created. Time to refine it with the smaller trimming tool. Pardon the noise outside. Got some cars and vehicles coming back and forth. I'm going to make this a little taller. Just feather that. And then go ahead and start trimming. Now for the inside. Have it slope a little. And then cleaning up that, and now just leveling everything out. Okay, time to clean it up with the bigger one. A little nub at the middle. Get that removed. And finally the undercut. All right, almost done with this piece. Now to get the trim lines back in. This one has fatter trim lines, so I gotta gouge it a little more. Go. And to burnish. Alright, people on the live vertical stream, jump in and say hi, drop a comment, ask a question. Talking to myself can only be so fun. Alright, let's get rid of that groove. Alright, there we go, looks good. See the other edge. And clean that up. Alright, bowl number 3 done. Wash my hands. All right, turned off the subscribers only for the live vertical. So if you want to leave a comment, ask a question, go right ahead. Okay, bowl number 4 out of 8. This one's a little off, so I gotta adjust it. Sometimes this griffin grip, even though it's supposed to center your piece, if it's not thrown centered, it can give you some issues. All right, there we go. That's better. All right, and all the same steps. Pilot hole, caliper for the width, and trim. Okay. And yesterday I tweaked my back lifting one of the wagons we have for our kids, and a little bit sore today, but I gotta get these trimmed for an order. So hopefully my back won't be super sore tonight. Almost got the foot to the width I want. Now level. And feather. And for those watching, I am left-handed, but sometimes you have to trim with your right, which I am now. So you just gotta get used to it. This one's a little weird. It's a lot wider at the base of my other bowls, so it's a little strange. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, let's get rid of that inside. there's a hard piece of clay again. Downside of recycled clay. Ooh, that's a big one. Big rock. Alright, hopefully I can trim and make it level. It's almost gone. So the slope looks a little weird. Let's knock that down. There you go, that looks a little better. Foot's a little wide. Let's feather that out. And adjust. Ooh, that is thin. Feel that vibration. Rattle. Alright, now for the undercut. Clean up the sharp edge. Get those throw lines back in. Okay, let's burnish and finish this off. Bowl 4 out of 8. Almost done. This one's even more wet. It's a hard thing when you're trimming such wet clay. It just gets so sticky. So always the same steps. Create the little indent for your finger to apply downwards pressure. Trim the overhanging clay to match the width. And turn it vertical to create the foot line. Okay. Knock down this edge. Define this a little more. And adjust. Let's do the inside now. And go a little deeper. And adjust. Get that vertical edge back. this down a little more. And this foot's a little wide, so narrow it a little bit. And time for the undercut. Alright, and cleaning up this bottom edge, get that defined. And let's get these through lines back in. Smooth. Oof. Yikes. Got some chunks stuck. Alright, smooth. Burnish. Clean that up. There we go. This one I think was the best one yet. Okay, 3 more to go. Sure it's secure. Alright, and all the same steps. So all those who are joining in now, we're trimming 8 bowls. This is number 5, well, it's number 6 out of 8. So we are almost done. Indent to apply downwards pressure and get that edge gone. For those who are watching, thank you for sticking around. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to leave one in the comments. Let's knock down this edge. So I switch from trimming tool to trimming tool depending on what I'm doing. Normally this bigger one right now to cover more surface area. The smaller one for more delicate spots. And then of course the smallest one, the silver one, for the undercut. Okay, inside. Getting that perfect height, matching the inside height with the outside height. Here we go. Now let's clean it up with the bigger one. Alright, almost done with that. Hello to people watching. Alright, inside good. Tap for thickness. Alright, that sounds good. Feels good, not too thin. Foot's a little wide. Let's take a little more off from the inside. And let's take a little off from the outside. There we go. Time for the undercut. And clean up that bottom edge. I don't think I need to throw in any trimming lines. So now to smooth. Add some water and burnish. Okay, finish off with the brush where I can't reach. And number 6 out of 8 done. All right, 2 more. My goal was to finish in an hour. Been doing this for about 40 minutes because I had a bunch of technical difficulties. Let's see if I can finish these last 2 in 10 minutes. Alright, for the people watching, do any of you guys do pottery or have done before? Let me know in the comments. And crickets, just crickets. Everyone's so nervous to talk in the comments. Who will be the first one to break the silence? I feel like I'm going crazy here. Alright, almost got the width. Alright, Bill, thank you for breaking the silence. Glazing while watching me trim. What are you glazing today, Bill? And I'll probably live stream when I glaze these guys once they are dry enough to be fired. It's probably next week sometime. So I gotta get this order out by May 24th, I believe. Almost got that edge set. Feathering. Low to the bits, just out of the kiln. I know that feeling. And for me, I don't know if it's the same for you, Bill, but I always go in with a game plan, and that game plan always just ends up in a lot longer session than anticipated. I always forget how long blazing can be. Hopefully, it's not the same for you. Alright, outside good. Let's get that inside done. And this is number 7 out of 8. Oof, clicking. Got another dry piece of clay in this recycled. Oh, this one looks big. Oof, yikes. That's a big dry piece. Get that thrown away. Alright. Trim that edge down. Hopefully that won't be seen. And of course another one. When you find one, there will be more just waiting. Oh, that's a little baby. That's good. Alright, let's level this guy out. And let's get this knocked down. Oops, I might have trimmed through on that one. Whew, gouged. Little too much pressure. Okay, I'm gonna even that out. Good thing this one's a little thicker. And of course, pieces that I'm almost done with give me the most issues. Alright, that looks good. Whew, stretch the back. Oh, okay. There we go. Let's get the undercut in. And round. Alright, there we go. Smooth and burnish. Alright, so Bill, since you're the only one that was brave enough to say hi, where are you located? US, foreign country, or are you even still here in this video? Alright, I'll just make a story for Bill. I think Bill's from, let's call it Canada. Oh, Denver. Close. A few thousand miles south. Awesome. I always wanted to visit Colorado. We're in Hawaii, and we have to ship everything in. So our clay costs is crazy now with shipping rising. It's almost more expensive to ship the clay here than it is to buy it. Alright, good. Let's get the last one. Last bowl. Finally, my back can take a rest after this. Hopefully this one gives me the least issues. And of course I just jinxed it. Just knock down that outside, get that nice and even, feather it in, and turn it vertical. Okay, level it out. And clean up the outside edge. Okay, feather the outside. Smooth it out. Dry piece of clay in here again. Ooh. Excavate. Ooh, that's a big one. Oh, that's a big hole. Alright, just gotta fill that, right? So if you ever have holes in your clay, scratch and score. Take some of your trimmings, dip it in water, plug it in, and smooth. And you can trim it level. Sometimes this works perfectly, other times you might see a slight indent. Sometimes it shrinks and you can see a big indent. That looks pretty good. Can't even tell where it was. Let's go and get these trim lines back in one more time. Okay, and the inside, last one of the day. Level it out. Clean up the edge. And finally, the undercut. All right, where's that tool? I always do stuff. So this is the last bowl I've made out of 8, so 8 out of 8. All made under an hour, all trimmed under an hour, so I reached my goal. If you liked watching this, you like pottery, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment the video. Every little subscriber helps this channel grow and allows me to continue making videos for everyone. And I just started live streaming. This is my 3rd one. I did 2 today. So hopefully next time I jump on, I'm not a crazy person just talking to myself. I'm a little awkward, so maybe that's why no one wants to talk to me. It's okay, I'll take it with a stride. Let's smooth out everything. And then lastly, the brush. All right, there we go. Trimmed 8 pieces in 1 hour. And one last thing before I log out. This is how I like signing my pieces. So I have a stamp with my logo in it. I prop it up on this really ghetto device, which is just some of my son's blocks duct taped, putting some soft paper towels on it with some plastic on top, and then putting the bowl directly in the center. So when I apply downwards pressure to stamp here, it doesn't concave the bottom, because I've had that many times. And then I take my stamp and I line it up in the center and I just wiggle. So I'm going to be doing this to the rest of the pieces later on, because I got to get out of here. Traffic driving home is going to be crazy. But that is the trimmings. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you saw something new and you want to try it on your own trimming adventure. If you guys liked what you've seen, don't be afraid to like and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, send me a comment in the posts that I have in the channel, and I'll go ahead and keep making more videos for you guys. All right, have a good one, everybody. Yeah, it looks better upside down. Peace.